'Cause apartheid ain't opinion, and you best be listening only to the Palestinians or you're racist.
What's up, my friends? My name is Dave, and you're watching another episode of The Dave Show. I hope you're doing well today, and for all those that are celebrating Easter, Happy Easter, and for those that don't, well, I hope you have a great weekend. All right, we are doing a promotion from the 18th to the 23rd, and it is, you receive 10% off your purchase if you purchase 3 or more items. So that's a pretty good deal. Pick up some authentic Idle Hands merch. You won't be disappointed. All right, well, hey, listen, we've got a lot of crazy to get to, so let's do it. This first clip, it just makes me happy. And I think most of you out there listening or watching fall into the same category as this young lady. So check it out.
Hey guys, I got a question. Am I the only one who gets the chills when the national anthem is played? I mean, I just really feel it in my soul and what it represents and what it means. And it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm just really passionate about this country, but I just get the chills every time I hear it.
There was a shooting yesterday at FSU on the campus, and my condolences to all those that have been affected by the shooter and the lives that were lost. May God bless you and strengthen you in this time of just need, right? Because that's a tragic loss. A lot of lives have been affected. And of course, the mainstream media just can't help themselves but bring up gun control. Let's see what President Trump has to say. He is an avid protector and he loves the Second Amendment. So it's interesting how he handled the situation. Take a look.
There are now 2 deceased following that shooting at Florida State University. Following and amid that, is there any changes that you want to see to gun legislation? Anything you see broken with gun laws in our country?
I'm going to have to look. I'm a big advocate of the Second Amendment. I have been from the beginning. I protected it, and these things are terrible. But the gun doesn't do the shooting. The people do. It's a phrase that's used probably too often. I will tell you that it's a shame. I'm just hearing about it now. I just hear about it. I know the area very well. I know the school very well. I know everything about it. It's Florida. And we'll have more to say about it later. I have
What
to
do
see
you
what
mean when you
happens.
say there will be more to say about it?
Only in terms of what happened. As far as legislation is concerned, this has been going on for a long time. I have an obligation to protect the Second Amendment. I ran on the Second Amendment, among many other things, and I will always protect the Second Amendment.
All right, my friends, sit back, relax, and buckle up. You're about to enter the Lib Zone.
Okay, I get it. You think the conservatives are morally bankrupt. Fair enough. Conservatives get things wrong every once in a while. But let's have a conversation about how people on the left think it's acceptable to give children puberty blockers.
Okay.
About how they think it's acceptable to mutilate teenagers, giving a girl a double mastectomy or cutting off the genitals of a young boy. Let's have a conversation about how these people think that it's acceptable to force people to take a vaccine that they don't want to take. And if they don't take it, they'll be forced to stay in their homes and they won't be able to participate in society.
They also won't be able to keep their job. I was actually put in that situation. HIPAA laws be damned, I guess. But they would not keep me employed at my work if I did not get vaccinated. And quite frankly, I needed the job. I've got a family to take care of. But it is just horrible that I was even put into that situation. And I regret. I should have just been like, F you, I'm out, and put my faith more in the hands of a higher power. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't. I will never do that again. So anyways, let's see what else these beautiful Democrats have to offer our society.
Let's have a conversation about how these same people think what happened on October 7th was completely justified, and that murdering innocent women, children, and civilians was an act of revolution. I understand there are necessary conversations that need to happen in our society about these contentious topics, and that it's not black and white, and not everybody is good or evil. But we cannot play the morally righteous game.
Nope.
Because you're as morally bankrupt as I am. Because that is just what it means to be human.
Yeah, we're all flawed as human beings, that's for sure, but there's an extra level of corruption, contempt, arrogance, and I dare say a whiff of the adversary in the party of the Democrats. They consistently pick the wrong side of issues, and it's on display right now.
Just so we can make this clear, the biggest threat to democracy and the biggest threat to the safety of other American citizens, to our rights and to everything that we hold sacred, is the Democrat Party.
Of course.
I say that because, as you can see, they vote against our best interests.
Yep.
They take sides with our enemies.
Always.
Their ideology is going to destroy this country and the people in it.
Yep.
And go ahead, I welcome your hatred. But you cannot tell me that everything that this man is doing, President Trump, that you guys are not undermining at every step of the way what he's doing. Instead of working with this man to make this country great and to get us out of this swamp that we were in for the last 4 years, you are undermining everything that he's doing, which contradicts your loyalty to the American people and those who put you in those seats. So the biggest threat to democracy is the Democratic Party. The same party who snuck in millions of illegal immigrants during the 4 years under the Biden administration so that they can jack up the numbers of Democrat voters in swing states.
Yeah, and all of those millions of people they just let just freely flow through the border every day over the last 4 years. Millions of people, not vetted, not at all, just let them in. But now that we want to get rid of them and send them back to their country of origin, now all of a sudden the Democrats are just really serious about vetting every single one of them. Which, if we did that, if we gave a trial to every single one of these immigrants that illegally crossed the border over the last 4 years, it would probably take 4 centuries to do that. And I'm not being hyperbolic. It would take a very long time. It said that it would be their great-great-great-grandchildren that would be representing them if every single one of these people got vetted. The Democrats are absolutely ridiculous.
Hi everyone, so something is happening in our country which bears serious consideration. Our country is going through a transformation.
Yeah.
A transformation that is revealing our allegiances and what we care about. It is now very clear that Democrats and their spokespeople in the media have decided to array themselves against the interests of the people of America. Today, if you turn on any news network, they're talking about bringing back an illegal immigrant into this country, and not just some random illegal immigrant. This is an immigrant who broke our laws and came into this country. But not only that, while he was here, affiliated with brutal gangs, received a deportation order, and was only spared deportation because his lawyer argued that he would be harmed by a rival gang in his home country.
Which would definitely tell you that he was actually a member of a gang. Gangs don't care about you if you're not part of a gang. And the MS-13 people, they don't hang with other just normal people. When they hang with other MS-13 gang members. That keeps the gang isolated and, I don't know, pure, I guess you could say. And don't forget, he's also been accused of human trafficking. He got stopped in Dallas with 8 people in his vehicle That's suspicious. And he said, oh, no, officer. I'm just taking these guys to work. They're in Texas, but we're taking them to Maryland for work. Not suspicious at all. But because it was during the Biden administration, the police officer couldn't do anything about it, so he got let go. So yeah, he's also a human trafficker, besides being a wife beater and being a high-ranking, or at least mid-level ranking member of MS-13, who are just a bunch of animals. All right, let's see what else the Democrats have for us.
That illegal immigrant, who was also a domestic abuser, today is going to receive a visit from a sitting U.S. Senator who has taken it upon himself to advocate to bring him back to our country. It has become very clear where Democrats stand. It just so happens that they always find themselves not standing up for Americans, but standing up for people who have clearly expressed a disdain for our values, shown a disregard for our laws, and in some cases, harmed citizens of our country, either through their activism or through their actions. What do Democrats stand for anymore? Because they're definitely not standing for America.
Do you know the difference between a tornado and a Democrat?
No.
One will take everything you have, leave you homeless, and destroy your city. The other is just weather.
I have a baby here with you. You're a disgusting, sick, vile, fucking weirdo. Oh my God, it's fucking right. You dumb bitch, you're with this
Gotta
shit.
go back.
He doesn't want me or you to have equality. Oh my God, go pray for me. Touch me and watch me touch the fucking hands. I will hit it.
Oh yeah, you're tough.
Get out. You're not welcome here. You don't want these people here. You're not welcome. You want me to make you be okay and comfortable in this world? Who the hell are you?
I'm proud of this man. This man here is going to keep people like you.
Please call the cops. Thank you, sir. You don't like the prior shooting? You don't like veterans? Why are you in this Mexican restaurant wearing that hat? That doesn't make any damn sense.
Doesn't make any sense why you have to.
This is crazy shit right
Yeah,
now.
it is.
This is some
It is.
fucked shit.
Yes, it is. I just don't understand the arrogance and the audacity of these people to constantly interject themselves into a situation that wasn't a situation at all until they opened their stupid Karen mouths. Why do they even care if he's wearing a Trump hat? It shouldn't matter. A normal person with normal mental health, if they disagreed with that person, if they thought, I wouldn't wear a Trump hat because I think the guy's an idiot. A normal person would just think that and keep on walking. Not a big deal. But these people are sick. They are TDS stricken, and they cannot help themselves. They are compelled, I think, by the spirit of the adversary. I hate to say it again, but I think it's true. These people are sick. They're a different breed of people. And again, we're going to watch a video where somebody just has to interject themselves into another person's life that's not doing anything, but they have to cause a scene because they're narcissistic. Let's take a look.
Act like a woman. You're a woman.
Of course she's a woman.
Whether American citizen, one resident of Maryland, they can do it to anyone. And that means nobody's safe. You speak out, you do something Donald Trump doesn't like, you do something one of Donald Trump's henchmen doesn't like, boom, and you are disappeared.
Boom.
That is truly what dictatorships are about, because the point of doing this is not just the one man.
Right.
The point is to frighten everybody else.
Hey, Warren.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
It is fucking batshit insane to me that this is up for debate. But let me be super clear. All persons within the United States are entitled to due process.
Nope.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia was denied his due process when he was illegally deported to El Salvador for life imprisonment based on information gathered by the police on a gang interview field sheet from his arrest in 2019. Wearing a hat and a sweater and possibly being affiliated with the gang should not mean life imprisonment. Get your head out of your asses. You could be next. Bring Kilmar Abrego Garcia home now.
But being in an organization that has been designated as a terrorist would qualify you to spend the rest of your life in prison. And plus, let's be frank, that dude has done a lot of other things that we probably don't even know about. I mean, he's a mid-level to higher level ranking member of the MS-13. You don't get to that level by making quilts for, the old people in the hospitals or something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm not sure how we got to this picture, because just earlier that day, or maybe it was the day before, I don't know, but the senator was clearly stopped from entering the prison. Now, all of a sudden, he has access to Kilmar, who is dressed in brand new street clothes. They probably clipped the tags off right before the sit down. And he's wearing a hat. Come on. Like, this just doesn't make any sense. And notice on the table, there's just water, because they want to make it look all, innocent and benign. But there are other pictures where there are clearly margarita glasses that have been sipped out of. They've been drinking, this senator has been drinking margaritas with a known terrorist, a convicted terrorist, a wife beater, a human trafficker. Who knows what else he did to be able to get to that mid-level to higher ranking level inside of MS-13. I'm sure it's not good. I think this is a trap set, and this senator just took it. Hook, line, and sinker. I think this senator has now just tanked his career. I think he's set the midterm for the Republicans, because they're going to be running this moment and other moments from this visit nonstop in ads that the Democrats side with domestic terrorists. I think he's also locked in the 2028 election as well, because again, they're going to run this. This guy is a total buffoon. He should be ashamed of himself. And then one more thing, in all the photos from this visit, you notice in this one that Kilmar is pretty much standing straight, or not standing, but he's sitting straight up. In other photos, he's standing straight up. But the interesting thing is, this senator is always leaning in. He's leaning in because he wants to show compassion and empathy for this wonderful, beautiful dad from Maryland, who apparently now has a disabled kid. So, I mean, let's just tack that on to the violin playing that the Democrats want to evoke, the emotions they want to evoke. This is just ridiculous, and it's a sad state for our government on the Dem side. Sorry.
But I am grateful to be wrong tonight. That is Mr. Abrego Garcia sitting there with Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, and
Shameful.
It is an incredible win to see that he is alive.
Another thing, just real quick, did this senator ever sit down once or even make a telephone call to any of the women that were viciously killed in his state? No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, he might have said something in passing, kind of, in context of the killing, but whatever. But he never did this. But no, he could take taxpayer money, Maryland's constituents, their taxes, to go on a plane to visit this scumbag. Outrageous.
I am so glad that I was wrong. I'm going to keep it just to that. We have a sign of life. I don't know a lot of details at this moment, but there are two things I want to say. Number one is that Mr. Abrego Garcia is kind of the focus of the media right now, because his family was not afraid to stand up and keep fighting where many others might feel afraid. So when you look at this picture, please know that the fight is not over, that there are many, many people sitting in CCOT right now as I make this video that are there without having gone through due process, and many of whom I assume are also innocent. And also the story of Mr. Abrego Garcia himself is still not over as far as we know.
Yeah, it's getting worse. He's becoming more and more of a monster every day that goes on. So let's keep that going.
The second point I want to make is this has to be the most terrifying picture for Donald Trump and JD Vance and Pam Bondi and all of the rest of them, including the president of El Salvador, because they know that he has spoken to this senator. So I'll provide updates if I have any, but it's a big win tonight to see that he is alive.
And we also demand the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia in El Salvador.
Abrego Garcia was also arrested with 2 other well-known members of the vicious MS-13 gang. And 2 separate judges found that Abrego Garcia was a member of MS-13, and that finding has never been disputed.
Nope.
And just this morning, it was revealed through Maryland court documents that Abrego Garcia's wife petitioned for an order of protection against him for 2 instances of domestic violence in May of 2021. And here is the order right here. The court ordered that the respondent committed the following acts of abuse. Once in May of 2021, assault in any degree. And on May 4th of 2021, he punched and scratched his wife, ripped off her shirt, and grabbed and bruised her. This is from a court in Maryland. So not only are Democrats rushing to defend an illegal criminal foreign terrorist gang member, but also an apparent woman beater.
And don't forget human trafficker.
If all you did today was get out of bed, take a shower, and maybe do like 1 or 2 things on your to-do list, be it at work or at home or wherever, I think you've won. And the reason why I think you've won and you should celebrate that win is because we are living in a real life horror film. We're living in a history book where we thought we would never go back to. Today in the Oval Office, when asked about the Pew Pew situation in Florida, Donald Trump just said, things like this happen. And autistic people are being used as political pawns. And there is an air of worry in the sense that it's going to be the disabled people that start disappearing first. Now we have emails going around from the Department of Homeland Security saying that we need to self-deport.
Oh my gosh.
American citizens who were born in America and have been here probably for generations. Could one explain where I am supposed to deport to if I get one of these messages? On top of that, everything is impossibly expensive and businesses are closing and people are getting laid off and federal agencies are, non-existent and our current elected administration is defying court orders. 9 Supreme Court judges said to do something and they won't do it. In fact, they won't do it to the point where they lie and say 9 Supreme Court judges agree with them. So if all you did today was get out of bed, take a shower, and maybe do like 1 thing on your list, you've won. The fact that we are operating as a normal society right now just makes no sense. Like, why are any of us getting up and going to work? We should be shutting down the economy and refusing to do anything that benefits those that are in the seats of power.
That's the Democratic way. Chaos and destruction, violence. But no. We can't forget they're the party of love and joy.
You know, it's crazy. Republicans keep asking, where's the dictatorship? Where's the fascism? Where's the extremism with Donald Trump? And it's like, it's right here.
Oh, it's so tough.
Donald Trump is disappearing people off of our streets and then sending them to a torture prison in El Salvador. Most of these people have no criminal record and they get no due process. They don't get a court hearing like they're supposed to. And Donald Trump is also openly ignoring the courts. A 9-0 ruling from the Supreme Court to bring back an unjustly deported man from El Salvador. Donald Trump says, no, not doing it. And then when the courts point out that Donald Trump is ignoring them, he ignores them again. We are in constitutional crisis, and if you can't see that, your head is in the sand. So the American people have a decision. Are you loyal to the United States? Are you loyal to the Constitution? Or are you loyal to Donald Trump? Because right now, you cannot be both. You cannot be both. Trump is tearing up the Constitution right before our eyes, and MAGA is standing right there watching and applauding it. Ay, ay, ay.
Come on, Sisson, you can't steal my line. I always say ay, ay, ay. But seriously, this is not a zero-sum game, right? It is not, you're either with us or against us. Of course, that's what the Dems want to do, because they always try to divide us in any way they can, either through identity or class or race or gender or, how much money you make, whatever they can do, they will try to isolate us and make us think we're the weird ones.
On the all-new Monday Countdown podcast, Kristi Noem, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, and Tom Homan, the head of ICE, must be arrested immediately for contempt of court. They're defying court orders to return Mr. Abrego Garcia from captivity and torture in El Salvador. And they and Trump are on the verge of being in contempt of court of the Supreme Court, as Trump begins to indicate he will not abide by its rulings about returning Abrego to this country. It is time to teach the Trump administration a lesson.
Oh, yeah.
The Trump administration is trying to teach the rest of us a lesson, which is that even if it makes a mistake, it will not correct it, and that we should all be afraid of being arrested even if we were born here.
What?
That's why dozens, perhaps hundreds of people born in this country, full residents, full citizens of this nation, received notices over the weekend that they had 7 days to leave America. It was just another administrative error. Administrative terror is more like it. All that plus Bill Maher self-destructs again with a propaganda video for Trump, this time reciting all the great things Trump has done for him, all the same things Bill said Trump had done for him in 2015 when I was a guest on his show, all the same things he then repudiated, claiming Trump had betrayed him.
Listen, we are in unbelievably uncharted territory here.
Yeah.
And, we're approaching the point where, honestly, it's like we're all going to have to take to the streets or something.
I don't know about you, but that sounds a little insurrection-y.
There are way too many people out there who look like me, who are rushing to defend Karmelo Anthony because he looks like them. But those same people, instead of being upset with Karmelo Anthony, are going to be upset with me for what I'm about to say.
Of course.
This was always what the radical BLM movement was going to eventually lead to.
Yeah.
The most basic, reductive form of tribalism based on skin color alone.
Yep.
We can't even agree anymore on what is right and what is wrong. We've been reduced now to our most basic identifying characteristics. The correct way to process this would be to demand justice for the victim and make sure that punishments are handed out that fits the crime. It doesn't even matter if the victim was allegedly racist. That's not a reason or excuse to take someone's life away.
Yeah.
He shouldn't even have had a knife on school grounds anyway. That's a felony in the state of Texas. Am I right?
Hello?
But y'all like felons. That's why y'all made a hero out of George Floyd. Never mind. But now you've got Karmelo Anthony's family moving into a almost $1 million house, getting new cars, after they raised so much money with this legal defense fund, GoFundMe. And that's because people took up and donated for him because they saw no issue with what transpired. They saw no issue, apparently, with this loss of life. And it has to do all too often just because of the color of one person's skin. And it shouldn't be that way. And now the family says they need extra security too. Really? After what Karmelo did, you need more security. Because it seems like you have all the security you need right there under your nose. But I digress. Now, basically, what they're going to say to me is, they're going to say, oh, you are a sellout, you are an Uncle Tom, you are a coon, you are acting white. You're going to say this and that because apparently speaking out against degenerate behavior now means that I'm acting white, means that I'm some sort of sellout.
Horrible.
This is the mentality that needs to stop.
Yeah.
They're going to say, you're not invited to the cookout. You're not allowed to the cookout. Like, oh, so your idea of who should come to a cookout is someone whose idea of conflict resolution is jumping up and slashing with a knife? I don't think so. I don't want to be at your cookout. That's all fine and good with me.
Yeah.
But I'm so sick and tired of this mentality continuing. It's only going to stop when we have more people who are brave enough and bold enough to stand up and speak out for what is right, regardless of the blowback. And that's what I'm going to do. And so it doesn't matter if you call me a coon or Uncle Tom or a sellout. It doesn't matter. What matters is what is right and what is wrong. And this is wrong. And we should all be able to at least agree on that.
Yeah.
Now, I know we live in the greatest country on this planet. But I also know that we live in the most backwards country on this planet.
Yep.
And only in America can a teenager overreact and unalive another one and end up with a house, a car, and money to play with, while the other one ends up in a box in the ground. And I can only say this: what kind of message does that send to youth all across this country? Because I can tell you it's not a good one. It's time that we do away with this toxic culture of violence.
I agree.
And we need to start holding people accountable for their actions.
Totally.
Not starting a GoFundMe for them.
Everything that Democrats are doing to white Americans, they tested on the black community first. They destroyed our economy with riots and fire. They destroyed our birth control rates with policy. They destroyed our monuments under the disguise of political correctness. They influenced our youth to embrace homosexuality through music. They influenced our youth to rebel through music. They refused to give us representation in Hollywood. They told us we weren't victims. They forced vaccines on us. And they called us conspiracy theorists when we said no. What's even worse, they changed our nationality through the Census Bureau more than 4 times. They assassinated our real leaders and left us with controlled opposition, such as Al Sharpton. They changed the color of our historical figures and ignored our outcry. They told the entire nation that we were a problem because we were black. Same thing they're doing with whites today.
Yep.
Yes, it's a cold, hard truth. The Democrats mastered the ability to control a race, and now they are doing the same thing to white Americans.
Yeah.
This is where it truly gets worse. Every black is aware that this happened to us. Most of us will embrace the new propaganda, and white Americans will view it as ignorant and racist the same way we did to white Americans in the past. So when Netflix replaced every white actor with a black one, the black community will view it as finally being represented and not notice that every white person was taken out. White America will notice the replacement and will rightfully speak out, but black Americans will only see the outcry. They will think that white Americans don't want them to have anything. We are living in the most powerful psyop of all time. The only reason that history repeats is because they remove it.
Yeah, that guy was on point. I mean, take a look at Netflix, the latest show that they put out very recently. It's called Adolescence. And it's about this kid who kills a girl in England. And in the show, he's portrayed as being white, which, you know, okay, fine, whatever. But then we come to find out that the actual killer was a black kid. So why would they need to race swap that? I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense. Just if the guy was black in reality, he should be black in the show. I don't know. And also, Last of Us 2 just came out on HBO. And in the video game, it's based off a video game, if you don't know. But in the video game, there's a character who is the wife of Joel's brother. And in the video game, she's white, which is totally fine. I mean, it doesn't matter what color what race they made her, but she happened to be white. But in the show, she's not black. Now, nothing against the actress. She's a fine actress, I guess, you know. But I don't understand why they had the need to race swap that character. Is it just to get, I don't know, brownie points or something with the community? I have no idea. Virtual signaling, I guess. I don't know. Let me know what you think.
I just want to know, you MAGA dads that voted for Trump, what did you tell your daughters after you voted for a man who was a rapist, an adulterer, paid off porn stars, who said it was okay to grab women and that they liked it, and who said that his daughter was hot and he wanted to sleep with her? What did you say to your daughters to try to explain all of this? Did you use the boys will be boys thing? Because you guys seem to like to use that a lot.
Women.
Are you guys supportive of Hamas?
Yes. Yes.
You do. Are most Palestinians?
Yes. Yes.
Do you think what they did on October 7th is justified?
Yes.
It's okay?
Gosh.
Yeah.
If you need a white opinion, then you're racist.
Oh.
If it's a Zionist opinion, then it's racist.
Of course.
'Cause apartheid ain't opinion, and you best be fucking listening only to the Palestinians, or you're racist.
I just can't get my mind. It just boggles me that people think that what Hamas did on on October 7th to the Israeli people is justified, was good, is something to be celebrated. That is sick. And that is demonic thinking. These people are so far gone. Their ideology has just ruined their ability to have critical thinking and to live a normal life in society. It's disgusting.
I just saw Snow White, and it is so much more woke than you could even imagine. First
Sorry,
of all,
buddy.
her name isn't even Snow White in the movie. It's Rosalita Nevando Blanco, and her nickname is Snow White.
What?
They never call the dwarfs dwarfs. They call them folks who mine. They never refer to Dopey as Dopey. They refer to him as person experiencing dopiness. The Evil Queen never says who is the fairest of them all. She says who is the most independent woman of all. The prince doesn't even kiss her to break the spell. He just respects her boundaries.
What did you say?
Why do you think Americans voted for mass deportations?
Well, one, it's the rhetoric that deporting them will make us safer, which I disagree with.
Wasn't there just a student here that got killed by
There
an
was.
illegal alien?
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to politicize that,
And that's
but
a tragedy, and it's, I mean, absolutely, every loss of life.
isn't
especially
it a
preventable.
material fact that if that illegal alien wasn't here, that student would be alive?
Absolutely. But let me ask,
But-
are there American citizens that also kill people?
Yes, of course, but they're here with warrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question is, if you have a big house party and a certain portion of the people in your house party aren't invited and they start stabbing the other guests, say, wait a second, they weren't invited.
Right.
They're not supposed to be here. We have a process in order for you to come into our own nation, our country, whatever you want to call it. And so the failure to enforce those laws makes you no longer a country. Just so we are also clear, every single person who crossed the border illegally definitionally is a criminal because they committed a crime.
Hello? Yeah, and that's the one thing that the Democrats just refuse to admit. They're doing such damage to this country. It's sad. All right, my friends. I think we're in need of a good detox, so let's go. It's time for Dave's Detox. Oh, wow. Aw. Jeez. Aw, it's a cute kitten. You sing it. Simi's trying to give him a kiss.
Teacher! Look at me!
Oh, that could turn into a terrifying experience real quick, though. Aw, that's so cute.
One more kiss.
It's like, nope. Oh, that's nice. Right on his head. Aw, that's nice.
What are you doing? No. No.
You can tell he's done that before. That's funny. Aw. All right, my friends, that wraps it up for another episode. I hope you enjoyed it and got some entertainment out of it. If you did, please subscribe, like, share, slap that bell, tell your friends about Idle Hands and what we're doing here. All right, hey, listen, until the next video, stay safe, know that you are loved and appreciated, and until we meet again, have a great day.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear.